All right, we're live. All right. Good morning, everybody. Hope you're doing well. It's on. We're good. Oh, what should I start with first? I do want to, even though it's still going to lead into World War One and talking about that because it is about gaming. One of the comment. Oh, good morning, Meandering Mike, and this is going to be awesome, actually, for you because one of the somebody posted on one of my videos saying that themselves and their girlfriend wanted to get into hex encounter wargaming, specifically Napoleonics or World War One, and I gave a couple of replies. So did Charles Latora. I just explained. Well, I'll show my game up in a minute that I got into in hex encounter. I think I'd mentioned it before. It was the Patton's first victory there from Decision Games. Anyways, I was thinking, gosh, this is an area that I'm not, there's other people that are far more experienced about able to help with good ideas on how to get into hex encounter. Like I was even automatically starting to think of what scale the people are in, like what do himself and his girlfriend want to get into, that type of thing. And I was just like, oh my God, well, let's mention this right off at the bat for this live stream. Charles Latora says 65 degrees now, 80 degrees later, and room temperature's 72 or something like that. So I think, if I remember my whatevers, so I guess not too bad, not too hot. I mean, 80 doesn't sound very bad. I don't, whatever. Anyways, yeah. So if you guys can come up with some ideas or just throw them out on the comments, or even later on, take a look at one of the video posts. I pinned their comment anyway, so maybe you guys can give them some suggestions or whatever. I also sent them off to. Excuse me, I'm going to grab some water. I also provided a link to the with them to BGG and whatnot. Like I said, I gave them my story of saying how I got into back in hex encounter, like. Basically, I didn't really know what I was going to get into. So, I said, here, let's see if I can pop it on here. I don't know if I did my link things properly. No, I didn't. But we'll talk about it soon. Anyways, let's go to the trivia thing. But yeah, I will say how I did get into it was, I was watching some stuff on YouTube. I wanted to get something relatively, obviously simple. Like easy to understand, wasn't going to cost a fortune, wasn't going to take forever to play, wasn't going to take a huge amount of space. So what I did was I just watched videos, and also this was the key for me. It was not just to watch a review or an unboxing or whatever. I wanted to watch a playthrough. I wanted to see how the game actually played out. And not even if that's was the main thing. Charles Latorre says there's some overcast now, but it will clear out by 10. My gosh. Well, here we've been getting just pounded with rain like there's no tomorrow. And this morning, I hope it doesn't happen. I just shut the windows down here, but my God, I've been sneezing my brains out. So I don't know if it's a bit of mold or what's going on outside, but I was just like, oh my God, I'm going mental here. I was like, please, just even a few minutes ago. So I was thinking, if I'm like having another sneeze attack, we'll be going to Charles Latora. We'll be going to Callendale awfully freaking quick. I can tell you that much. I also, yes, again, want to say welcome to everyone. And please let me know what you're up to gaming wise, and what you guys are thinking about doing for the week. I don't know. It's in the live stream description, but and this week's History Heroes trivia, guys. I didn't do it. I was talking about it with Zoe yesterday, and I mentioned to her. I said, "Oh, darn it, man! It's just the way it works because I randomly pick things." And I'm like, "This week's clue." I said, as soon as I reveal one clue, people are going to know. William Harris says, "Hello from Kitchener, Ontario, Canada." Chris, how close was the tornado to you? Good morning, William Arends. Great to see you. William Arends, I'm ashamed to say, because this is a proper, I should be focused. Yet again, me with no current events. So just have my head somewhere else. And I just found out recently that there was 4 trillion tornado watches and alerts in my region yesterday, and was just listening to music and doing my gaming and had no flipping clue. I mean, sorry, on Thursday when the tornadoes, and yesterday was Zoe. But so I had no flipping clue. I don't even, were there tornado warnings yesterday as well? I have no idea. If there was, that means there's 2 days in a row. But no, I haven't been paying attention at all, William Arends. I have no idea if there's any massive damage going on or anything. Yeah, like I said, I feel pretty bad about that. In the way that I should, pay attention with at least those things, for goodness sakes. So yeah, I was talking to Zoe, or showing Zoe yesterday the clues, and I was like, they're gonna know that it's impossible not to know. So I was like, I don't want to do another true or false because I don't know if it really went all that well last week. I don't know if you guys know the points because, well, I'll tell you one thing. I do have them written down. Meandering Mike certainly took the advantage of that. Charles Latora says a little bit of everything. Costco, if I can borrow someone's car, a little Napoleon, some Western Front Ace. Gosh, I want to see this actually out, and maybe paint a few goblins. Oh, I love goblins. That would be cool. Yeah, please. Well, I'm sure we're going to see it. So yeah, Meandering Mike, you're at 105 points. William Arends, you're at 82. And Charles Latora, you're at 79. Everybody else is, forget it. We won't even worry about them unless something bizarre happens. Okay, so I'm just going to go through. I do have a list here, and I also made a little, yet again, a presentation slideshow to kind of hopefully connect the dots with me, so I don't forget some things. But yet again, like I was saying with Zoe, it's just the way it goes. I'm going to forget things week in, week out, and whatever. We got multiple whatevers, and also, I'll just go with it, I guess. So we did that. Oh yeah. I'll show you the first trivia. Like I said, I don't even know what to do with this thing. I'm just going to let him out, and we'll just go with that. Maybe we'll just talk about it and stuff. Another thing I keep freaking forgetting to show, I don't know why, is the Atlas map of the week. I don't even know if this is going to be a good thing. And yet again, I was saying with Zoe yesterday, I'm like, you know what? I'm going to keep doing certain things unless people actually say, Chris, this isn't working, or whatever. If I don't get whatever, I'm just going to continue doing whatever. If I think it's working or not working. But for example, last week, which I thought was excellent, was when Meandering Mike was mentioning, hey, there seems to be a lot of shadow on that picture, when we were showing a shot of the Gorlitza Tarnif breakthrough there from my kitchen wall map. And that type of stuff. It's like, that's what, you know what I mean? I need to, otherwise, so that way we can, help each other out, kind of thing. Okay, so I'll give you the first pop it out on the comments, and I'm also going to pop it out on the, which I didn't pop up here, you silly bugger. Hold on, I'm going to grab it. Like, I've got it in my thing. I just got to actually go to the actual, here we go. I'm just going to give it to you guys, the first clue, and we're just going to start from there. It's pretty obvious what it's going to be. So here we go. Here's the first comment, or the clue. I'm just putting it in the comments, and I'm going to reveal it on the banner. And it's about 100,000 of us soldiers on the Western Front stopped fighting on Christmas Eve, 1914. Geez, I wonder what the heck we're talking about. But like I said, I was like, you know what? We'll just go with it, and maybe it'll be like something that it'll just start the discussion off with something. So okay, I've done the mentioning the commenter who wanted to get into hex encounter wargaming, specifically Napoleonics. With their girlfriend, and perhaps World War I. So hopefully you guys can. I think you guys are a much better resource for those people than I am. So hopefully you guys can help them out. Then I'm gonna let's go to the slideshow a little bit and see if that works. I'm gonna take a look down here. I will say one of the a bit of the themes this week that I've had going through stuff was. Charles Latora says, true. Well, we're not doing a true or false, but I'll give you a... So it's funny that now you're getting into the true or false, which was last week. You're like, I'm not really into true or falses, whatever. William Arends says the Christmas truce. Exactly. And I'll show you, you know what? I'm going to just reveal all the whatever. So I'll get rid of the banner. But don't worry, Charles Latora, you're getting points, man. You're getting points. That's for freaking sure. I can guarantee you that. So yeah, I'll go to the picture first, and then we can we'll go from there, and then we'll talk about stuff. Where are you? Pics L35. There we go. And I'm going to, I think I've got to make it a bit small. Yeah, I can't make it maximized. Otherwise, it's not a window and the thing doesn't show. And now I just got to go and share it with you guys. Charles Latora, William, the one from Worthington. Oh, you guys are talking amongst each other. Sorry. I'm going to present, share a screen, window. And now we'll take a look at the Christmas truce thing and hide. And hopefully you guys are going to see what you guys can see. So hopefully it's not too... Oh, goody. You can see quite big. I'm going to turn... make me disappear. Hold on. So we can see the whole thing. There we go. And then I'll get to here. So yeah, it says the Christmas truce. About 100,000 of us soldiers on the Western Front stopped fighting on Christmas Eve, 1914. We sang carols to each other, exchanged gifts, and shook hands in no man's land. Most of us stopped fighting for 2 to 3 days, although some stopped until New Year's Eve. Holy moly. The truce was spontaneous and fighting continued in some parts of the front. Our lull in fighting was a chance to retrieve our dead from no man's land, and fraternization of this type was banned in future years by our commanders. And I think I did read, though, later on in later years, the Germans, or maybe at least in 1915, did try it out in a few places, and there was no response. Joker fact: small Christmas trees and lights appeared in the German trenches. So there you go. That was quick. Yes, William Arends says yes. The Worthington solo game. Oh, sorry, I didn't read that comment up a bit here. William Arends, I just want a copy of the Waterloo book game on a live stream of Eric Hulgren and Suku Joe. Awesome. I have that upstairs, and I've got actually that Eric video where he does a thing of that. It's on my queue. I still haven't watched it, and hopefully I will get around to. Oh my gosh, I've got so many that I'm behind. Actually, the worst one I'm behind is the Hoser House Rules one, the Bone Cult part 2 or whatever. Right now, I've got to go and watch that soon. It's like I think it's about 2 weeks old. Goodness gracious. Okay, so we've got that. I've done that bit. We got rid of the Christmas truce thing, and then I'll go up to my little slideshow, and maybe that'll kick in. Oh yeah, I wanted to get into the theme of what I was finding this week. Kind of was about going back a bit. It was also due to the fact that when I was listening to and watching the Great War lecture this week, episode 4 in 1915, at this time, anyways, on YouTube, he had mentioned that, well, we're going to get into it, that Mackinson had learned lessons from the Battle of Neuve-Chapelle. And so he was going back a bit, thinking about things. And so I wanted to get into thinking about that as well. Charles Latora says, that got me to buy WDG, Crisis on the Right, plus 1815. Then I went and bought 2 OSG Napoleonic games. Oh boy, you're getting into it. Back to the Battle of Neuve-Chapelle. And so that tied in as well. Hopefully we'll get around to it when I was starting to just trying to figure out the amphibious lift capacity there, or the lift capacity. I think it's called amphibious lift capacity for amphibious assaults or whatever. I have to look at like the specifics. And talking with me, or Meandering Mike had mentioned, why don't you go back a bit, in the rules, and from there, and see if you can go forward again. And that's precisely what it's actually. I had to do two hops back. I went back one hop to war economies or something, and then I had to even go another hop further. Charles Latora, WDG White Dog Games, thank you. And now I'm at this point, and it's making, I wouldn't say making a lot more sense, but like I think I've mentioned to you guys before a few months ago when I first did the first crack there with the Grand Campaign rules, it was just what in the world? It was almost like a completely different language. At least now it doesn't feel so intimidating. But it's nice to be able to jump back a bit and go, okay, now, but there's still a lot of things I'd like to discuss later on with you guys. Well, I'm going to grab the Grand Campaign rules very quickly. Hold on, because it was actually I have them. What am I saying? I have them on the screen. We can look at them together. Because let's do that. And if I still got my, if I hop around too much, when I hop around too much, hopefully I will get around to what I want to, talk about. Okay, so we're going to present again. I'm going to share screen. Microsoft Edge tab, the Grand Campaign one. You guys can see this. All right. Now, if you see here, so we're going to do it. So I wanted, let me know if the screen gets too jumpy or like freaking you out. So I jumped back to war economics first. And then that wasn't making a lot of sense in a sense. And I went, okay, I better go back even further, which is now where I'm at now, just starting to read up on industrial economics to find out about what factories can do. And from there, it's starting to get into some really interesting things. Like I said, I had to jump back too, because I was up to here in the war economics. And there's this stuff such as initial stockpiles. That's what I wanted to talk to you guys a bit about. I don't understand if these initial stockpiles, like the 80 weapon stock production points, because later on, it talks about if you're playing the Grand Campaign, the player is responsible for production and whatnot. You're on your own, basically, I think, from like October onwards. Even though there's, like I said, I'm getting confused because there's also the listing of when replacement unit, like all the when reinforcements come in and when there's changes to whatever, like to strength points for certain whatever's, because they've been it's later on in the war or whatever. So I don't know if that's scenario specific or like I'm still in that realm of what is pertinent and what isn't. And also, does this mean, for example, that Germany right now, if I want to, like for my game, turning it into a Grand Campaign, does Germany have 80 weapons production points sitting somewhere that can be used? Are all these things sitting somewhere that can be used? I don't have a flipping clue. So anyways, that was one part of the thing I wanted to talk about. So I'm going to stop sharing that for now. That was interesting to get rid of that quickly. I'm going to actually get rid of it completely. There, back to here. William Harris says, I only wish that the Kaiser would have realized that the only sure way to save his empire in 1914 would have been to call for a permanent ceasefire on the Western Front, then extended to all fronts. Meandering Mike says, yes, a stockpile is like a bank account. Thank you, Meandering Mike. So, boy, this is interesting then. I wish, I'm not saying I wish I had known about it. Oh, now we've got two different things talking. I want to get into what you're talking about as well, William Harris, because what you're talking about that way, what I've been reading and watching and so on and so forth about what's been going on right now in 1915 with wow. And yet again, I didn't realize this whole Gorlitz Tarnów offensive historically and whatnot. I didn't realize that this week that there's that, that's only that part of the Eastern Front, like the bottom part, and all that other part around Warsaw and then up towards, in East Prussia, up towards, I guess we'll end up becoming Lithuania and all that. Those are two other, I guess, fronts, if you want to call it. And that this whole thing was this giant sector or whatever. That's what I'm starting to clue into. Now, I'm going to take a look at the pictures in a little bit. So we got Ludendorff way the heck up there. And then in the middle, I can't remember who it is, doing the push towards Warsaw. And then you got Falkenhayn over, I guess, in the west there, or at the headquarters. I don't know exactly where they were. And discussing, you know, which way to go. And then they were also, which you're talking about, William Arends, but they were trying to perhaps get Russia to force them to do a separate peace with them and then be able to focus on other things. So I just thought that was interesting. Now we'll get back to quickly to Meandering Mike's thing about the stockpiles like a bank account. Darn it. So this is going to be a whole other kettle of fish or whatever to talk about later. How does this get interwoven into stuff like that? Like I'm assuming this means that, like, for my game here, that means all those people have that sitting there somewhere. I don't know how to convert that into, would it be ready for, it's too late now. I've already done the November thing. But anyways, good to know. Good to know. Okay, hold on here. Let's go to the slideshow picture thing and see if that helps me get into stuff. I've already present here. Do I have it up there? Yeah. I hope this is the right one. Yes, it is. All right. Goody. And you guys, I think I'll pop me in a tiny, tiny winky dink. There we go. So I just wanted to give you guys an update on, actually I can make this giant size because I'm not looking at anybody else and you guys can see this. So I wanted to give you guys an update on what happened this week with the Western Front Association and the Rob Thompson Memorial Conference that's coming up next week. We'll quickly go, and we will go over the Western Front Association website so you can take a look at some of the guest speakers that they're having. But I did purchase a ticket, and like you can see here, I didn't know what to call you guys, so I decided to call you guys the week that was live stream viewers. I don't just kind of sounded okay to me. I mean, that's what I type in on my sheet on my sheets every week when I do my live getting ready for the live stream. So anyways, that's it. We kind of have a one virtual seat there. And if you wanted to, for a virtual £20, you can go and have a lunch with them and go off to the pub later. But like I said, we'll go to the website and take a look. But I wanted to, I was kind of happy about that. I did discuss with them. I think maybe they think I'm a bit of a nut bar. So maybe that it's not going to happen. But I did mention to them, I said, this is what I would like to do next week for during the live stream, maybe not the whole thing, but to talk a little bit about Rob Thompson and, you know, his work and his love of logistics and trains and all that, and World War I and whatever. And I said, you know, it would be nice, I said, to watch one of his lectures from YouTube. I said, obviously, I don't want to get into copyright problems. So I said, if there's a possibility, I could purchase a license for a one-off viewing of one of the lectures from the Western Front Association. I've got one in particular I'd love to watch with you guys. Absolutely love to watch with it, you guys. And I think you guys would really enjoy it. It's less than an hour, thoroughly entertaining. I think it would be awesome because at least for me, I got to learn about a railhead. I got to learn about all the intricacies. It's insane how you get freaking goods from one end to the other. It's just nuts. I was absolutely astounded. Actually, on a side note, that way, I was watching some U.S. National Archive footage there, and just the extent of goods that have to go through, like to supply the troops. I was just like, it was just amazing. It's just like watching. Like a city, just incredible. Okay, so there we go. How do I do the slide thing here? Here's the next slide. Hopefully this will help me out. So yeah, I just finished watching the second episode of the Crimson Field. The reason why I'm bringing this up is, well, I mean, like I said before, I wanted to have something that was, you know, a bit more lighthearted or whatever. And yeah, trust me, it's, I would like it. I'm not going to reveal any spoilers or whatever. Yeah, like I said, you can get this through I'm kind of watching this through Amazon Prime Video via a free, try PBS Masterpiece or whatever for 30 days. And, you know, after that, we'll charge you. Well, I'll just cancel it. And, you know, there's only a few episodes. Yeah, it's like I said, it's not super nitty gritty. I mean, I would like it a bit more, whatever. I understand where it's getting from, but what I'm really interested in is it is hitting on some of the big themes. Like the episode I watched last night, just number 2, was you know how people are changed. Actually, one part of the episode is when a wife goes to visit his or her injured husband, and she can, you know, they know it's different forever. And I was just like, wow, it was just nice to see that those big themes hammer in kind of thing. I was like, okay, this is neat. And just also just the sheer, gosh, just, you know, it just seeing also that just the way, you know, all the wounded come in. It was just like all the it was almost like it's a weird, okay, I would say it's kind of like a PBS masterpiece version of MASH in World War One, if you want to think of it that way, but with like a bazillion love interests. It's like, you know, just nuts. So, oh yes, and finally we're going to bring this up. Hopefully, if you guys, hopefully this isn't too small, but here, I'll make me disappear. That didn't help. So I'm bringing this up for a couple of reasons. I'm not even looking at my notes here, so that this is a good thing. This is what I don't want to do is look up in my notes. So I'm bringing this up for two reasons. One is that, well, three. One is I didn't finish. Well, I have finished reading the chapter. I just haven't finished sticking the thoughts into my head about the Cameroon and the chapter 5 there, all but Mora, and then we can go on to down here, German, Southwest Africa and everything. But this week, in 1915, German Southwest Africa unconditionally surrendered to the Union of South African Forces. And, well, obviously I wanted to mention that. And which is going to be, you know, pretty bloody massive, which brought me into here due to the fact that, and I'm going to hopefully I'll show you the next picture, is which blew me away. I can't remember how this. Oh, that's right, because I was trying to look up this guy, and this guy is, if I can hold on, I got to look up his name. Captain. Did I bring him? Captain. And I'm not sure even if that's his true name, what his picture looks like. Hold on, I'm going to see if I can find him, find his name. I have to go to number 35. So that's Captain von Krailsham, maybe. I mentioned him a few weeks ago. He was the guy that slipped around Major Sunlift's forces, the Brits there under Dobell's forces there, and was able to cause a little bit of grief for a while until they intercepted him near a British outpost, and it was quite a distance. I think somebody it was I think like 4 hexes away in the Weltkrieg terms from where he originally was before he hopped back across the border. And that's it. It was only like a few sentences in the book by Byron Farwell and the Great War in Africa. And this is when I was like, anyways, I got to, well, it's not that bit. It's about anyways. And when I was looking him up, it was actually a really big battle that he was involved with, that little outpost. And I was thinking, oh, wait a minute here. It was called the Battle of Guren. And it was on the 29th of April. So was back then. And it was, what did it say? German forces in the area had substantial freedom of movement. This allowed Captain von Krailsham, the German commander at Garua, to conduct a number of raids on British Nigeria. And in late April, a force commanded by von Krailsham joined with a smaller one commanded by Captain Schieper to attack the village of Guren just outside the border. Anyways, I just thought it was interesting that, I think I've mentioned it before that, and I think you guys have also told me this, is that you need to get other sources. You just can't keep relying on, for example, the chronology book or one thing repeatedly. And yet again, also to help me out, and thank you, Meandering Mike, because I want to do this. I've mentioned this before with I want to continue doing that crossword thing, and I did notice my first crossword when I was doing it last week. There's an art form in it. Think about it. Think about this. It's the way I'm looking at it is it's the same way of software allowing anyone right now to make a document, or to think they're a graphics designer, publisher, and yet that's not the case. Whereas the same as that software, that it makes the crossword puzzle for me. doesn't mean I'm a great crossword maker. But I can also see the slippery slope of thinking I may be clever, coming up with whatever's. And it was nice. I enjoy it. Well, I love being put in my place, to be honest with you. And so I loved it when Meandering Mike had made a few comments saying, actually, you better check your facts here. And I was like, yeah, that's awesome. So because I want to do a good job, obviously, for these types of things, and I want to be able to, branch out as much as I can in trying to explore different ways of finding out about World War One. And if it means like even like word search, crosswords, just getting my, myself and other people if you want to, but get my mind constantly thinking about World War One in different ways and so on and so forth. Even it's like jigsaw puzzles, put anything, man, just go for it. All these things are just going to intermesh. I love it. Okay. So that's it. Let's get to the next little bit. This is just, hopefully you guys can see how I'll get rid of me. That didn't really help it. Well, actually it does help. So this happened this week, but I don't know too much of the specifics, but I wanted to mention it, is that Serbian forces took Durazzo or Duras or whatever in Albania. So I'm assuming that was obviously beforehand. And if I look at my map over there, I could probably take a look. Hold on. I'm going to take a look in my map. I'm pretty darn sure. No, I don't know. I was looking at, because I know that I put the map or the front for the Austro-Hungarians and the Serbians on my wall there on another map in my living room for November, and that I actually have a little red spot there for Duras, trying to figure out who the heck has control of that. So maybe I don't know. I really don't know. Maybe it was whatever. But I just wanted to let you know that that happened this week in 1915, and then we'll go to that. But that's all I know. I don't know anything else. Yet again, stuff that I would just want to bring, I guess, to your attention and myself as well, that I have to remember. There's other things going on in the world. The Italian front has been going on for several weeks now. This is the fourth time, I think, this week, and I can't remember which Austrian town has been, city has been getting bumped. Oh, shoot. If I could expand the map, I would know it. Starts with a P, I do believe. Polis or something like that. Oh, darn it. That place has been getting aerial bombed by the Italians. But there's Venice. That's the fourth time this is the fourth time, I think, since the start that it's been bombed. And somewhere in the Trentino area, which I don't know, so you guys would have to help me out, the Italians are making some gains right now. But like I said, I'm not going to start BSing you and trying to give you some extra stuff that, I don't know about. All right, this, you may go, what in the world? So I got this on here because, yet again, it's also about, I think, the changing nature of, this is an episode, it just reminded me this morning when I was thinking about World War I and everything. And I was reminded by this and just the industrial nature of World War I and the way things have, seemed to be changing in the mindset and just the way, as you know, it's just the efficiency of being able to do things, not only, kill people and so on and so forth. But I was also thinking about, like bringing in the supply. It's just everything was on just an unbelievable scale. And I thought it reminded me of just this different type of almost, and yet again with the Rob Thompson lecture that I would love to watch with you about this changing nature of warfare and the way of looking at like all the people are cogs or a number and so on and so forth. It just reminded me of this Star Trek episode, something Armageddon or something. Taste of Armageddon. And I can't remember. I don't know if you guys ever saw this episode. Probably did several times. This is the one where everybody, the computers are running everything and they do simulated attacks. And then they were like, okay, this city got bombed and whatnot. I can't remember who they are, if they're the Vindicar or the other planet is Vindicar. But it just reminded me of World War I in some ways. And I just wanted to bring that up. Here, yep, and then we're going to get towards the pictures there, what I was saying about the three-pronged attack, and then we'll hopefully get to the Battle of Neuve-Chapelle. So this is just, like I said, it's just to remind me to talk about the three-pronged attack. So there's Falkenhayn, who I keep getting the battles mixed up. This is not the battle. It's not the gas attack. The Battle of Neuve-Chapelle is, we'll find, seen a little tiny bit, was the British attack to try to put a dent in a salient. I do believe the German salient. It worked a little bit. I mean, well, what did they say? 300 artillery guns, 200,000 shells in 35 minutes. And I think I was also listening to the Wesley Lives Say podcast about the Battle of Neuve-Chapelle this week. I remember I've got all these links and Lord knows what's in the description. William Arends says, "What a lesson in civilization to teach the people in their African colonies, which was instead of imperial pacification and development, there would be a great power conflict in their towns and fields." Oh my gosh, yeah. Where am I here? The Falkenhayn thing completely got. Sorry, it's not your fault, William Arends. It's just the way my mind works, and I've also got to blow my nose. Sorry, guys. Yeah, I completely got off the rails here. Grabbed it here. So the three-pronged attack. The Battle of Neuve-Chapelle, and that. The artillery shells, 300 guns, 35 minutes, 200,000 shells, and the Wesley Lives Say podcast. He mentioned that it comes. Well, I guess we could do the math as well, but it came down to one artillery gun for every 5 yards. And here we'll go. We'll flip a little bit. Next slide. There's good old Ludendorff. So he was. Oops, sorry. So he's up at the top bit, doing his. It was another bit of a lecture I watched, listened to this week, and just the thing on the side there about Falkenhayn denying what Ludendorff wanted to do, and they were like, the guy was saying that maybe they should have let Ludendorff do what he wanted to do, even though it would have caused more deaths. It would have proven that Ludendorff was not such a great military strategist or something. I don't know, but like I said, it was just still. I got to listen to the lecture again. And this guy Mackinson, as you know, so he was the supposedly, and that's why I was talking about looking back bits. And when I was listening to the Great War podcast channel there on this one, he had mentioned that Mackinson had learned from the Battle of Neuve-Chapelle. One of the things is extreme concentration of artillery, and that was why he was one of the reasons why he was so incredibly effective with the battle. With the Gorlitza Tarnów breakthrough, even though right now they're starting to run out of steam, I do believe. But I mean, that's what happens when everybody, retreats and condenses, kind of thing, I guess. So there it is. Oops, I'll get rid of me. So there's the Battle of Neuve-Chapelle very quickly. I don't know if you guys can read that, and I can't bring it up. Can I do? No, it's a new layout. Hopefully you guys can take a look at that. But anyways, yeah, I can see the operational goal of the Neuve-Chapelle operation was to capture the rail line. That's right, just behind the German force line. And anyways, I wanted, like I said, I was bringing this up, even though this happened with that. We've already talked about this. Obviously back in March. It was just that, lessons learned by Mackinson. I thought it was kind of neat. And that's it for the slides. All right. So we're back to here. I think we may have time for Callendale, guys. That would be kind of nice, because I'm trying to look up here. I still haven't done the Atlas map. That's okay. It's not the end of the world. I'm pretty darn happy. So how about we go to the Callendale thing? Doesn't that sound good? Okay, good. Hold on. I've got to pop you guys back to normal land. Oh my gosh, we didn't actually. There is one thing I did want to kind of do very. Let's quickly. I did want to show you. I'm going to actually put you back down to pseudo minimized again. I wanted to show you one of the maps of, or one of the games that I saw for the Battle of Neuve-Chapelle. When I was looking up, I was like, well, maybe somebody wants to play the Battle of Neuve-Chapelle. I don't even know if we looked at this back in March, but hold on. Thought maybe you guys want to take a look at this and see, maybe you guys have played it or have it or what have you. All right, so there. Okay, and you guys can see that. So that's oh, well, there you go. There you go, Charles Latora. It's also by White Dog Games, but looks pretty darn nice. Let's see if I can make it a little bit bigger. Looks kind of nice. I'll get it smaller and see what. Can't really see the counters from there. There we go. That's a bit better. Certainly not using the unit things or NATO things. Sorry, unit. Good God, Doctor Who reference. There we go. When did this come out? Hold on. When did that come out? Full credits. Oh, sorry, 2012. So there we go. It's not too bad. I wanted to show you that. Okay, back to that. Back to me. What did? Oh yeah, the Soviet game. That was the game of the week, and I also wanted to show you an interesting little because I know that you guys are into this type of stuff. So hold on, I got to get to which I can just go back to the BGG thing. I should have left it there. Darn it. Yeah, the random game of the week. It's not actually a World War I game, but I thought, wow, does this ever look interesting? And then I actually, in my community post, showed one of the. Here we go. This one. So this popped up out of my thing from rolling, and I could not find anything about it. It does seem compelling, and I love this bit. This looks really interesting. So I don't know too much about the game, but boy, I'd love to. Like, obviously, somebody has a copy of it because they did oh gosh. So this came out, and I think, what did they say? 19. But it'll bring me to this. We'll show you why it brought me to. So when did this come out? 1920. Okay, so we'll go to the images. Hopefully you guys can still see me. I hope so. And actually view Steam here. There we go. Okay. I can do both. And yeah, I want to go to here because it brought me to this person. And I thought maybe you guys would like to see this guy's channel. I'm not going to try to pronounce that. But he's got, or she's got, a ton of links and really interesting things. And the one I'm just going to show you very quickly, and I showed a picture of it because I just cannot barely stop staring at this picture. Holy smokes, is this. And my Russian translating thing, Meandering Mike could probably be able to help much better than I can, or he would know for sure. I think that says Chemical Warrior, but the other people said it was Chemical Warfare, so I'm assuming it probably is that. And this, I think, says Sovereign Publishing House. Is that real? But that box cover, if I was a kid, or it doesn't matter, even right now, I want to play that so badly. That just looks so fascinating. Anyways, I thought these links, I popped them into the description. I thought maybe you guys would want to have some fun and take a look around. It's just, look at that. 19, like, it just absolutely, I just find this stuff really cool. All right, so I'm going to get rid of this. I'm going to get rid of that. Get back to you guys. There you are. All right. What else did I want to show? We still got tons of time. Yeah, let's do the Callendale thing. I can show you the Western Front thing at the end. Okay, hold on here. I gotta get to the live stream thingamajig. All right, there we are. All right, get rid of this. And where are you guys? And then I have to remember to mute you, mute myself, not mute you. Goodness gracious. Okay, just going to mute me. Hold on here.
As we slide into June of 17, the Germans repositioning, but they found one thing. This hex, which the French had advanced into, they launched an attack there, no advance, drove them out, only did 4-3 in losses, but basically it's just trying to halt this, trying to make it harder for the French to get their grasp on there. That was just one short of breaking the French situation. So if the French lose another strength point, another demoralization point, they're going to lose replacement points coming up. But they do get their, if they had lost this 1 point, they wouldn't have gotten as many supplies this turn, which could have significantly affected their ability to continue an attack because they don't have that many. I'm not sure they want to continue. They've lost their entrenchment prospects in this space, for example. It's going to be a hard call. English got another shot in the arm with the extra supplies. They were able to do a 2-hex attack with some French aid, artillery aid, to blast up to the Somme. I think the Germans have to withdraw. I think they have to pull out of them. The problem is, I don't see that working. I think the Germans will still be in retreat across the Somme after this. I think they're in trouble, but they cannot keep stretching their line. So far, they've been able to keep it pretty tight. They've been able to keep it reasonable here. But if this breaks, their line is going to stretch to ridiculous extents. So they have to focus more and more strength up in the north, push up, try to pull back to the Hindenburg line. I think it's the only answer here. So we're going to see a massive retreat and some fresh terrain, and the French will be able to push forward at no cost. So the decision to withdraw is made, but that doesn't make anything trivial immediately. The Germans had to pull out of this hex. Otherwise, they'd be abandoning whatever's there. They have to slowly fall back to the Hindenburg line. They can't just jump there. And that opened up what it looked like an opportunity for the French. They launched an attack on the hex, and not terribly effective. And the Brits, being particularly bloody-minded, launched another out-of-supply attack, very little artillery supply added in, and against this hex, basically what they're looking at is breaking that Somme line before it gets established. They do not want to face a wall there, but they've got a danger. That line's not being dug in over here until after, it hasn't even started being dug in. So next month will be an available time as well. And they kind of, I think, overreached with the attack here. They took 15 to 11 losses and didn't dislodge anything. They weren't using their armor. No real advantages there. So they're not making it any harder on the Germans. They're hurting themselves on this, and that was probably foolish. But once I commit to an attack, I kind of go through with it, just as a matter of, geez, I've counted everything already. Fuck it. All right. So the Germans have pulled back to the Meuse, or Moes. No, the Marne line. Sorry. Not all the way back to their Hindenburg line. They don't think they have to pull that back that far. They don't want to give up terrain that's unnecessary. There's a slight advantage to Hindenburg hexes, but they still see that as a fallback. So now enabled them to put some more strength into the line against the Brits. Nothing additional against the French, but they feel like they have them kind of hampered at this point. And they can direct more resources down that way. This line is a little weak because it isn't entrenched yet, but it's not terribly weak. With a +2 or a -2 bonus on them, they have as much of an advantage as trenches give. It's just not as strong a line as they abandoned, but it's somewhat smaller in frontage. That should be sufficient to help tremendously. And once they do dig in, it will be a stronger line. One of the issues with this game, for me, when I play the big strategic, say a Third Reich or a Whiff or something like that, it's just apparent to me that I can't hold something, right? This, because of the slower advances, the way things aren't going to be these major breakthroughs, it looks like, yeah, I can hold on a little harder. I don't have to pull back. This isn't a bad thing. This is World War I. But it was much more difficult for me to fall back in this than it would be in a World War II situation where the risks seem higher. Here, it's the risk of losing that one hex. That's what I'm giving up, right? Well, terrain doesn't matter, but it's the risk of the loss of manpower and key locations. By strengthening this area a little bit, I'm hoping I can stop the Brits. I think the Allied offensive is largely going to be done. We'll see. The French have driven themselves over their limit, though, so they no longer have some artificial barrier. I'm expecting attacks over here and possibly in this range to see if they can push the Germans back further from Paris. And we actually see no follow-up. And most of this is because the terrain's so chewed up along the fronts, even over here in this area. It's just impossible to move stuff to the front quickly anymore until the rail lines are built. Now I'm building these rail lines back here, and you can see I must have succeeded because I have a railroad unit there. It's not absolutely clear to me, and I didn't want to look it up. I've been playing that you can kind of build the rail line and then rail units on it. That feels a little funny to me. I'd like to look that up, actually, because I think that feels like I'm cheating. So you have to be on an operative rail line under your control, but it doesn't really indicate that the entire rail line had to be operative. So unless I'm mistaken here, I don't think that there's any indication that you can't just build the rail line ahead of your unit. That feels a little goofy, and I might want to house rule that out of the way. But I've been playing with it. With it that way, the engineers become almost pointless. If you're clever enough to put your engineers at the front, which I never do, they can rebuild the track without much trouble in front of you. But there's also the rail limit to how many units can transport by rail. I do a significant amount of it. I haven't been keeping count anymore. I don't want to count on being able to rail up to necessarily every location, and I could not, no matter what, rail into areas where the enemy is present. Nor could I move into those after railing. So, for the most part, one could kind of ignore the engineers in the rail building situation and just say, well, if I've got the rails there and they're kind of clean and everything, it'll all work okay. And that really is largely what I do. Also got some of the headquarters kind of slowed up as they're rebuilding units and preparing to throw them back into the line. So for the most part, the Allied offensives have stopped. The Brits, they don't want to sacrifice more men for no gain. When they were gaining ground, that's great. But at this point, they don't feel like they're going to get that. Now, of course, not too much longer before the German assault troops come into play. In fact, some of them are already here in the mountains. I don't want to make an attack with them because the first turn of an attack by assault units is very devastating. They could actually break large segments of the line or several different locations along the line at once, which feels a lot more effective than just piddling an attack here. after that first turn, they're no longer really like tanks. Well, they're not really like tanks. On the first turn, they just kind of negate the defensive benefits, even of trenches, etc. After that first turn, defense in depth becomes such a reality immediately, in a way that, like, yeah, it was already somewhat a situation, but it immediately, 4 days, defense in depth becomes such a proposal that you do not have that advantage anymore after one turn. And in fact, trenches become a significant barrier once again. The only thing that isn't is terrain. If you have enough assault units involved, enough assault strength points, which is only the points above the top of the normal 8-point unit. So a 12-5 has force assault strength points. If you have as many as the opponent has, then you can of the assault points as the opponent has defensive strength, then you can force the defender to retreat from non-trench hexes. This is nowhere near as effective as what tanks do. The first turn of the assault units is more effective, but the second turn and thereafter becomes much, much less effective at gaining ground. I'm not sure about how I agree with that. We'll see how it works out. They certainly work a lot better in La Grande Guerre, but this may be a more historical treatment of them. All right. And although the Allied assault has ended over here, in the Metz region, they launched a massive attack here. They got hosed. 11 losses for them, 19 for the 11 losses for the Germans, 19 for the French. That's not a good trade-off at all. This was really, again, one of those situations where I didn't realize how much the Germans had there and hit it anyway. You kind of say, well, geez, you're supposed to pay attention to these things. Yeah, I saw a big stack, but, once it was committed, I again said, let's attack. I really do want that hex. I want it badly because then I can start bombarding this with more effectiveness, perhaps, or punching through to the SAR or whatever. So in a sense, there's an attritional value. I just didn't realize how painful it was going to be and how bad this was. Didn't throw the tanks in this time. They were present, but they didn't fight the battle because they would take additional losses. But also, they don't really help in clear terrain. If you get a lot of tanks, they help. But they only really help with the trenches, because in order to force a unit to retreat with tanks, you have to add the tanks in and match their overall strength. So there would have been multiple ways to retreat, but the easiest to force a retreat would be simply to hit half the total points. And I came close with 11. Only 3 more and it would have worked. But I don't think it was possible, actually. Now the French set themselves up busting into this hex using the mobile attack rolls for an assault on this, but when they started counting the odds, they said no good. Instead, they moved up this way, which is in the direction they want to go anyway. This being drawn into the Vosges just didn't sound pleasant at all. And there was just a lone headquarters and some replacements here. They drove the replacements out, overran the headquarters. And they're really pushing into the area where the value is. The Germans have to do something about this. This is turning ugly to them. Well, the Germans made an attempt. They surrounded this space to attack it. Missed by 1 strength point in terms of damage, didn't drive it off, took more damage than they gave. I don't remember, something like 8 to 10 or something like that. And now it looks open. It looks like the French can do some really nasty stuff. First of all, this is no longer... no, it is protected now because it's back there. But yeah, this could spell the beginning of some real painful times for the Germans. Okay, and the French continue. Massive, massive attack. They only ended up doing 15 damage. It would have been 22 otherwise. But pretty much they wiped out the entire German stack either way, including artillery that was there, pushed into here. They first did a mobile attack across here and then did a surrounded attack. There was no trench there anyway. By getting here, they gave up. They destroyed the river line. advantage, and they really have rung the Germans' bell here. I don't know if the Germans can hold this line here. They're going to try to push out, I think, and try to contain somehow to try the Saar Valley from falling into French hands. That would be pretty major. The French, on the other hand, are pretty much out of supply. Not entirely. They still got enough. They could probably push another attack if there's something of value. The Germans, alternatively, might also be attacking this hex again. This is particularly weak, only 6 strength points, no defensive advantages, really. That could help tighten up their line a little bit. But it's really getting ugly, real ugly for the Germans in that front. Well, the worst deformity was pushed back by the Germans, but they still are in a risky position here. I don't know if the French can break through again up here or in this direction, or if they'll just take a pass. And the German front over here is just dissolving. The French retook their territory. The English, on the other hand, you might think, well, maybe they want to make one of their kind of low odds, high casualty attacks. They're having a hell of a time trying to get their front together, because now that they've chewed it up so much and gotten some advances, it's really hard for them to swap troops in and out the way they're used to doing, what they were doing when they could maintain their assaults. They're having a tough time. They want to send a landscaping crew in and fix this damaged terrain. Between that and the nightmare of all the stacks looking for pieces, because they have a much higher incidence of non-British units. The French have a few non-French units, and I just basically say fuck them. You know, if I can't recuperate them, I'll just deal with that. And you know, I've got like a replacement over here kicking around. I don't know. There's probably somebody hurt somewhere I could fix, but I can't fix these green guys, and it's green guys I need replacements for, and I don't think I have any of them. But even weak French units are pouring into here. I've got enough damaged French that I should be recuperating units, and I probably ought to stack some stuff to take advantage of that. Same could happen with the English, as a matter of fact. I've got damaged English units, damaged German units. Everything's knocked out of the battlefield. But I don't know. Sometimes it's hard work. The English are able to recuperate their weaker units and bring them back in. They've got enough pieces on the board as it stands, although if they take more of the front and push the French a little further, the French are kind of still stretched. We'll see. The tightening of the line helped both sides. It definitely helped the offensive side of the Allies, because they can now concentrate a full force attack. Of course, they're concentrating against stronger Germans in general over here, so it becomes unlikely to look good. But over here, they found the weak spot and they started hitting it. And, you know, okay, that's my fault. I could have spread out better. But I really didn't realize how weak this was going to be and how easily it would fall once the French could hit it with sustained effort. Anyway, we're at the end of the month, which means more supplies coming in. So the assault and this great offensive can continue for maybe another week or so. We'll see. But it is really ugly for the Germans right now.
Forgot to unmute myself. So this is good. I'm glad that we're basically right at an hour, so I don't have to go on and drive you guys nuts. Yeah, I could have been a few more things to talk about, but a good thing is actually for the Western Front Association, I can bring it in next week, which will be for the Rob Thompson Memorial Conference. I can I'll pop it in on there. Thank you again for showing up, the comments and the whole 9 yards. Please remember, if you can, it would be great if you have any suggestions, further suggestions on top of Charles Latora's suggestions for helping that person and his girlfriend out getting into Hex Encounter Napoleonic wargaming. That would be totally cool. And like I said, I pinned the comment on one of the videos, so that should help. That's it. Hope you guys have a great week. I'll see you guys later on, in other ways. That's it. Thanks a lot. Have a great one. Bye, guys. gonna hit the end.